We're now joined by Minnesota Senator and 2020 Democratic presidential candidate, Amy Klobuchar. Good morning to you, Senator.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on, Margaret.
Thanks for braving the rain today. I want to ask you, of course, about the news of the day, the death of ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi.
Well, this was the takedown of a very, very dangerous terrorist. And so we have to take this moment to thank those that put themselves in danger. The decision was a good one. And this is a guy that was responsible for the deaths of so many Americans, so many innocent people. But as Susan Rice just said a few minutes ago, this doesn't mean that ISIS isn't still there. We still have, of course, over 100 of the ISIS fighters that the Defense Secretary has said got out recently of their confinement, and then we have others that are in a prison, and it's unclear who's going to be guarding that prison. So there are problems not just in Syria, but all over the world, and that's what concerns me overall about this president's decision-making and about what he has done in terms of breaking down our alliances, leaving the Kurds, who gave us intelligence for this operation, leaving them for slaughter.
You rightly thank the U.S. military and intelligence for this. President Trump signed off on this raid.
Well, he did.
And this is a political win for him.
Yes.
You're trying to run against him to become the next commander-in-chief. Isn't this going to make it harder to run against him when he can say he's the guy who got Baghdadi?
Look, I have in the past, for instance, when the president made the decision to respond to Assad's use of sarin gas, I commended him for that decision. But just because you make some decisions, and you must as a commander-in-chief, and you must make those decisions for the security of this country, doesn't mean that his foreign policy overall has not been a disaster. The decision to get out of the Iranian agreement, the nuclear agreement, which has allowed Iran to now bust the caps to enrich uranium, the decision to get out of the Russian nuclear weapons agreement, the decision to get out of the climate change agreement at a time when our world is warming, sea levels are rising, and we're seeing floods and fires all over the world. So those were very bad decisions.
So unlike other Democratic candidates, would you pledge to keep a U.S. military presence in Syria?
I would not have removed those 150 troops. I would not have done it. I would not have given in to Erdogan when he called. Yeah, I would have kept them there. So, and I would have, this would never have happened. But now this damage has been done. So the question is, what do you do now? Well, you keep trying to use your leverage to do everything to defeat ISIS, and you try to do all you can for humanitarian aid, and you certainly try to use the leverage that we have remaining to help the Kurds.
You sit on the Senate Judiciary Committee, meaning you have some oversight there of the Justice Department. Do you think those ISIS leaders who are responsible for the deaths of Americans all should be extradited for prosecution here to the United States?
Yes, I think that we should go after those leaders. But the point of this is not really exactly what we're going to do now. The question is, what do we do going forward when the American people have a decision to make? Do they want to keep a president in that has been so divisive in this moment, where this morning we are unified behind getting rid of terrorists, that's for sure. But every morning, probably tomorrow and the next day, he wakes up and he starts going after immigrants, going after people of color, dividing people, and then not having people's back when it comes to bringing down pharmaceutical prices or doing something about infrastructure or doing something to help our farmers who his trade war has left devastated in so many parts of the country. So I think the American people can come together, say, yes, we want to defeat a terrorist.
Right.
But then they look at what he does every single day to this country, and they want new leadership.
You have criticized some of your fellow Democrats also running for the nomination for overpromising in terms of providing free services like free college education and the like. But you are now offering two-year college and technical schools. How are you going to pay for that, and who gets hit with the tax, if there is one?
So I have always supported that. Those are the fastest rising degrees right now in terms of the number of jobs. We're going to have 74,000 openings for electricians, nearly that many for plumbers, for medical tech people, for home care workers.
Well, what is the
cost
cost
That is where
to
this
that?
is. The cost of this, my education plan costs approximately $500 billion, and I would pay for it by taking the capital gains rate, which has been a ripoff for average Americans, and changing that to the personal income rate. I have shown everything Margaret, how I'm going to pay for it. Because I think we've got a president that has added up debt, trillions of dollars, hasn't shown. I want to make college more affordable, double the Pell Grants, and do this in a smart way instead of paying for rich kids to go to college, which is sadly what my opponents' plans do.
So if you make about $400,000 a year or so, your taxes are going to go up. Is that correct?
For people under my plan, yes.
Okay. Quickly on impeachment, you believe that the whistleblower should testify. Is that correct?
I think it would be good to have the whistleblower testify. I don't know that it is necessary to have the whistleblower testify because we have people like Ambassador Taylor that have come forward with firsthand knowledge. The whistleblower was simply reporting on something that he had heard from others. I think what's most important is to keep getting the testimony of people that were actually there on the scene. That Ambassador Taylor testimony was devastating. It showed that this was not just a one phone call, that this had been a plan for a long time for the president to put the interests of America behind his own personal interests to get dirt on an opponent. It's a pattern. He does it for his business. He does it for his partisan interest. He does it every single day.
Senator, I know we have to leave it there, but I want to thank you for braving the weather, but also I know you had to be somewhere for a campaign event and you stayed around to talk to us.
Well, this is an important day.
On this important day. Thank you.